He was the mustache that launched 1,000 crushes, the Hawaiian shirt that made every man want to move to the islands, and the Hollywood leading man who walked away from fame for a woman. From a shy college basketball player to one of television's most enduring icons, Tom Selleck's life has been filled with career-making breaks, heartbreaking near misses, and surprising twists you won't believe. But behind the charm and the cool smile is a story you've never heard in full. Military service, a role that almost made him Indiana Jones, battles with the Hollywood fame machine, and a love story that defied all of the odds. This is the untold, unfiltered journey of Tom Selleck from Detroit to Magnum PI, Hollywood glitz, farming, and beyond. Tom Selleck, the untold story of Hollywood's favorite nice guy. In 1980, Tom Selleck was just weeks away from becoming Indiana Jones until a single phone call changed Hollywood history and his life forever. What he did next not only turned him into one of the biggest stars on television, it also sparked a behind-the-scenes Hollywood controversy that's still debated today, and that's just the beginning. Because over the next 4 decades, Selleck would battle network executives, risk his career for love, and walk away from millions to live life on his own terms. But first, let's go back to the day it all began. Thomas William Selleck was born on January 29, 1945, in Detroit, Michigan, to Martha Selleck, a dedicated homemaker, and Robert Dean Selleck, a driven real estate executive. In 1948, when Tom was just 3 years old, the family packed up and headed west, settling in Sherman Oaks, California. Growing up with one older brother, Robert, and 2 younger siblings, Martha and Daniel, Tom's early life was marked by modesty, discipline, and an emerging love for sports. He attended Grant High School, graduating in 1962. By then, his tall, athletic frame, already topping 6 foot 4 inches, had earned him a spot on Los Angeles Valley College's basketball team before he transferred to the University of Southern California on a basketball scholarship, majoring in business administration. At USC, Selleck played both basketball and baseball, joining the Sigma Chi fraternity, and became a member of the Trojan Knights. Acting wasn't yet on his radar until a drama coach in his senior year suggested he try it. That advice would change his life. Now, as a biographer, the late 60s and early 70s are a busy time to piece together in Selleck's life. In dropping out of college to pursue acting his senior year, Selleck also received a draft notice because of the Vietnam War. This was in 1966. He chose to enlist in the California Army National Guard. He ended up serving from 1967 to 1973. He did 6 months of active duty, and his unit was ultimately called upon for civil disturbances, including the Watts riots. He rose to a rank of sergeant during this time, while also juggling appearances in various commercials and films. Not unlike many Hollywood stars, he spent many years grinding through bit parts and small roles before he had a breakthrough. His early career featured appearances on TV programs like The Dating Game in both 1965 and 1967, as well as ads for Pepsi, Salem Cigarettes, Revlon's Shaz Cologne, Right Guard Deodorant, Dubonnet Wine, Close-Up Toothpaste, and, of course, Safeguard Soap. This, alongside bit parts in films like Myra Breckenridge, Coma, and The 7 Minutes. He also played Lance White in The Rockford Files and took on cowboy roles in Western TV movies such as The Sackets in 1979 and The Shadow Riders in 1982, aligning with his outdoorsman persona. Selleck's big break came in 1980 when he was cast as Thomas Magnum, the charming private investigator in Magnum PI, filmed in Hawaii. This series was a massive hit, running for 8 seasons from 1980 to 1988. Selleck won an Emmy in 1984, as did his co-star John Hillerman in 1987. The show was nominated for multiple Golden Globe Awards. It's hard to overstate just how popular this show was during its time. It consistently ranked in the top 20 U.S. TV programs in the Nielsen ratings during the first 5 years of its original run, finishing as number 3 in popularity during the 1982-1983 season. An extraordinary number of things have to go right in order for a show to make it 8 seasons and be this popular, and I think it points to 2 major things that we can say about Selleck. First of all, he is a genuinely likable person. Although he is a fine actor, he is naturally athletic, charismatic, confident yet humble, and humorous. That likability and charisma, along with beautiful scenery, solid storylines, etc., kept pulling viewers in for nearly a decade. The second thing is Selleck's work ethic. Doing 8 seasons in a row of this show in some ways was grueling. Other cast members made mention of how hard the work could be in the hot Hawaiian sun. Most notably, co-star Larry Manetti in his memoir from 1999 entitled Aloha Magnum. I will try to remember to put a link to this below. The Los Angeles Times reported in 1985 that Selleck was set to make as much as $4.8 million per season for Magnum. In his book, Larry Manetti writes, "One thing that was especially great about working with Tom was the fact that he appreciated his cast and crew as few stars do. In our 5th year, he had 3 Porsche 928s delivered as a surprise to me, Roger Mosley, and John Hillerman at our homes." A shocking story from the early 80s, just as he won the Magnum PI role, Selleck lucked out and was selected by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas for the role of Indiana Jones in the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie. But there was a problem. Magnum was supposed to start filming in Hawaii in March of 1980, and CBS refused to release Selleck from his contract for the TV series. Of course, Harrison Ford ended up being cast in the iconic Spielberg role and all of its sequels, leading to heartbreak for Selleck. But because of a Screen Actors Guild strike in 1980, production of the Magnum PI show was delayed until December, which meant that Selleck ultimately could have done both. Selleck received his own star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame in 1986. His mom and dad, as well as his 2 brothers, were able to attend. Anyone that doesn't think Tom is down to earth, approachable, and a nice guy should watch him introduce his family to this crowd or sit through an interview with his mom on a couch during the event. Despite the success of Magnum PI, Selleck admitted he did not enjoy the sudden fame. "It was a lot to adjust to," he told one interviewer. Though filming away from LA in Hawaii, he said, was a blessing. He also appeared on the cover of People in 1982, candidly opening up about struggles with fame and his love life. During Magnum's run, he skipped Raiders of the Lost Ark due to the CBS obligations, but found cinematic success in 3 Men and a Baby in 1987, which became the top-grossing domestic film of its year. He reprised the role in 3 Men and a Little Lady in 1990 and starred in Quigley Down Under in 1990, Mr. Baseball in 1992, In and Out in 97, and The Love Letter in 1999. I refuse to leave out the sci-fi movie Runaway from 1984. It was not one of his most successful films, but I remember seeing that as a kid and idolizing him in a way that made me refuse to miss a single episode of Magnum PI. Surprising fact, in doing role preparation for the Mr. Baseball film, Selleck ended up playing with his childhood favorites, the Detroit Tigers, in their spring training camp in 1991. Selleck was married to his first wife, Jacqueline Ray, from 1971 to 1982. Jacqueline had a son named Kevin from a prior relationship who Selleck adopted. Tom and Jacqueline were separated during the early days of the Magnum PI show, but it took some time before they divorced or before Tom was willing and interested in having a relationship again. About this time, he has said, I have never been totally comfortable with the expression, "it goes with the territory." People who say that have probably never been in the territory. But I had to find a way to keep at least some part of me private. Jackie got the rough end of it. They said I left her because of Magnum. Well, we split up about a year before the pilot, so all of those things were a little bit bruising. 5 years after this divorce, Selleck married Jillie Mack on August 7th, 1987, in a private ceremony near Lake Tahoe, Nevada. They met in London. She had been performing in the musical Cats. The ceremony was not quite perfect. Everyone forgot the marriage license, and they almost had to forego some of the proceedings as a result. They honeymooned at the Emmys and later settled on a ranch in Ventura, California. He has 2 children, Kevin from his first marriage and Hannah with Jillie Mack, born December 16th, 1988. Kevin, for a while, was a drummer in a band, while Hannah spent time jumping horses before starting her own ranch. It was in 1988, after marrying Jillie and wrapping up his work on Magnum PI, that Selleck bought the 63-acre avocado farm that was once owned by Dean Martin. Over the years, this has provided a nice buffer from the public eye, giving Tom a chance to spend time with his family away from the cameras. He has said in interviews he loves spending time outside, fixing roads, clearing brush, or just watching wildflowers grow. In 1996, Selleck joined the cast of Friends as Dr. Richard Burke, Monica's older love interest, earning an Emmy nomination. This continued through 2000. In 2001, he made his Broadway debut in 1,000 Clowns. He also starred as Jesse Stone in a popular series of made-for-TV movies based on the novels by Robert B. Parker, and he co-founded the Character Counts initiative. In 2010, Selleck began portraying Police Commissioner Frank Reagan on Blue Bloods. The show enjoyed a long run, 14 seasons, before ending in December of 2024. Selleck reflected, "After 15 years, it's hard. It's hard to let go because coming to work was a joy." Post Blue Bloods, he's embraced a quieter life, taking his foot off the gas, according to him, and focusing on relaxation around his ranch. Still, he remains open to future projects. He's interested in westerns, collaborating with Taylor Sheridan and Sam Elliott, and possibly revisiting Jesse Stone. Indeed, a new Jesse Stone film is listed as in development. In 2024, Selleck published a memoir entitled You Never Know. Although it is a solid 350 pages and well written by co-author Ellis Henican, who also co-wrote material with other big names like Chris Christie and Sean Payton, it feels all too brief. There are many interesting insights, surprising details, and amusing anecdotes. It has details about a car crash when he was 17, early training, his path to acting, and lessons from both his fame and its setbacks. But it's very focused on his time in Hawaii while filming Magnum. It also skips details about the deaths of his friends and coworkers, John Hillerman and Roger Mosley. The book only mentions his daughter Hannah briefly, with much of her birth and early life and his parenthood experiences entirely left out. The book is absolutely worth reading for any Tom Selleck fan, and I will try to remember to paste a link below if you would like to check it out. But it leaves me hoping that he will release a sequel. In mid-2025 images, a gray-bearded Selleck was spotted without his trademark mustache while running errands, prompting unrecognizable headlines. He shrugged off inquiries about dyeing his hair, saying his appearance is all natural, and jokingly offered Self-Pity at the Minibar as a potential autobiography title. Following Blue Bloods, a spin-off titled Boston Blue is in the works, led by Donnie Wahlberg. Although Selleck won't star, he may surface via cameo or video call to tie the Reagan legacy together. At 80 years of age, regardless of how many contracts he signs and how much screen time he pursues, we can be sure Selleck will continue to enjoy quiet time with his family on his ranch. Before we do the thing, please hit like and subscribe. I know you guys get tired of hearing that, but it really does help the channel. It encourages me to do more videos, and it doesn't cost you anything. Thanks in advance. From a Detroit boy with a basketball scholarship to a Hollywood icon who defined cool for generations, Tom Selleck's career is proof that sometimes the role you don't get leads you to the one that you were born to play.